Good evening and welcome to Dark Thoughts of Hope. I'm Teresa Foley and this is about 3:30 in the morning. I just got done writing part of the first chapter of a story that I'm working on for my next book. I thought that I had everything for my part written down hours ago at like 11, but found out that I had only written 324 words. So I've been up since 8 p.m. tonight, probably. No, probably like 9 or 10 I would say. 9 or 10 p.m. I've been up since writing. It's going to be like this for the next 3 weeks because my partner that I'm writing with wants it done in a time limit. So to appease her, I'm doing that, and that means a lot of late nights for me. Now, I know I said that I was going to read Lois Duncan's I Know We Did Last Summer, so I don't want to disappoint. But don't be mad if I only do 2 or 3 pages. Because I'm really tired right now. I can barely keep my eyes open. But I wanted to come on here because I said I was going to. And yeah. So here we go. Ray then turned the car down a narrow dirt road that led off to the left, away from the cleared area with the tables and benches. Branches brushed against both sides of the car, and a squirrel ran across in front of them as they came to the stream and pulled to a stop near the bank. It was a few moments before either of them spoke. Finally, Ray said, "Well, it's still the same." Julie nodded. A thin silver cord of water wound its way down from the rocks above them and disappeared below in a clump of evergreens. A scattering of nameless yellow flowers poked their heads from the fresh spring earth, and beyond the trees the sky arched in a high, rich curve of blue. There was a sliver of moon caught in the branches of that pine tree. Ray said, "Remember?" "I don't want to remember. Not anything about that night." "Julie, you have to." He reached over to cover her hand with his. "We've got to remember, to think, to decide together what to do." "Why? It's been almost over a year now." "No, it hasn't. Not really." "What do you mean?" "You can't just shove something like this under a rug and pretend it has never been. Especially now, after what's happened to Barry." Julie drew her hand out from under his and folded it with her other hand in her lap. "What happened to Barry doesn't have anything to do with the other. He was shot during a student demonstration." "No, he wasn't. There wasn't any shooting during the demonstration last night." "Mother thinks," Julie began. "Face it, honey, that demonstration was peaceful. A bunch of kids carrying signs. That's all it was. They sat in the road a while, and the people who came to watch the fireworks had a hard time getting their cars out. There wasn't any violence. Nobody even fired a pop gun. Let's drop it, shall we? I really don't feel like hashing things over. Julie, stop it, Ray said sternly. We've got to talk. Oh, all right. She turned her face to his, and the pain in her eyes was so deep that he was momentarily sorry that he had first issue. All right, she continued. If you insist on talking about that night, then yes, there was a moon in that pine tree. Yes, it was a beautiful picnic. Yes, we killed a little boy. Is there anything more? There's Barry. Julie sat quiet a moment, digesting the statement. Then she said slowly, you think Barry was shot deliberately by somebody who knew what happened? By the same person who wrote you that note and sent me the clipping? What clipping? Julie asked. I didn't know anything about it. A clipping? I got it Saturday. It came in the mail just the way that note did to you. It was addressed in the same block printing. Ray reached in his pocket and pulled out his wallet. He opened it and took out the folded newspaper column and handed it to Julie. She took one glance and handed it back to him. I don't have to read it, Ray. I remember it. I can quote it word for word. And what about Helen? Has she received anything in the mail? Not in the mail, Julie said in a small voice. There was something, though. I talked to her Sunday. She thought Barry might have done it, that he was playing a trick on her. What was it? A magazine picture. It was taped to her door. It happened on Saturday. According to Helen, she was sitting out by the pool, and there was this new fellow who has the apartment 2 doors down from her, came out and pulled up a chair beside her. They sat and talked for a while, and then Helen got worried she might be getting sunburned and went inside. When she got up to her room, she found that somebody had taped a picture of a boy on a bicycle to her door. She thought maybe Barry had dropped over. He had said he'd be seeing her during the weekend and had seen her there with another guy and thought he'd teach her a lesson. That doesn't sound like Barry, Ray commented. He plays around enough himself so he wouldn't have any right to get jealous over Helen. But Helen doesn't know that. She doesn't go out with other people. Besides, not having the right to be jealous doesn't mean that a person doesn't get that way. Julie paused. Oh, I'll admit it does sound pretty unlikely, but that's what Helen thought. She told me that if Barry didn't call her by noon Monday, she was going to phone him and have it out. Do you suppose that was what drew him out onto the athletic field? Ray asked thoughtfully. A phone call from Helen? It could have been. The morning paper said he received a call from somebody right before he left the fraternity house, and then he was shot. You don't think it was Helen? Julie regarded him with horror. That's ridiculous. Helen worships the very ground Barry walks on. All right, I'm gonna end it here because I'm really tired, and I will read more tomorrow. Good night and God bless.